Welcome back to another episode of CityLife Uncensored. Pretty pumped today. We go back to the point where you turned us down. So excited that we have you over at our brokerage. And of course, right? But get you on a podcast here to, hopefully we'll dive into why you did it at the time, because I do think it made a lot of sense then. Yeah. But hanging out with Pham here, who is I think probably, right, no offense to everybody other agents we have, but I think our top producing agent this year at the brokerage, which is insane compared to where you were last year in your previous career, and you're still a new agent overall, right? So super pumped here to dive into that, to give audience and really myself, some education of how you've been able to do that, what that looks like, success hurdles, etc. As always, BK's here hanging, making us sound, making us laugh a little bit and add in some good libs. So jokes all day. Anyways, bro, thanks for being here.
No, I'm honored to be here, just be with you guys, so ready to kick this off with you guys.
I love having you around, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it then, man. Always like to start with simple, basic, what's your come up, bro? Give us it.
Well, let's see. I was raised in Brookline, came from a poor family. I'm Vietnamese, so I'm bilingual, which has helped me a lot in my world. And after that, we grew up in Baldwin because, my parents didn't want to put us in Brashear.
Yep.
So private school. My whole
Shout
life.
out City Schools.
Yeah.
Did you go to Baldwin or did you go to private school?
I went to private school from preschool to 8th grade.
Yep.
And then an opportunity to go to Seton. I went to Baldwin instead. So I went to Baldwin, moved there since I was 8 years old. Strict family. Number one thing in our family was always faith, family, and culture. So that's why I'm so bilingual in Vietnamese, making sure that I know where my roots are, where I came from, So that's where I'm at right now,
I love it. What so did you go to college? What's your career? Because I know you didn't. I know you got. It was only a few years ago really you became an agent. So what's that journey been like? From obviously the childhood up to kind of that professional background.
Yeah,
just a little bit more of that.
So coming from my background, my parents migrated in the United States in the 70s, from Vietnam. And out of the whole place in the United States.
Did they become hippies?
No, thank goodness. Do I look like a hippie? They migrated to Brookline. We moved to Brookline. So the thing was, American dream. What's the American dream? Yeah. Go to college, get a corporate job, make your name for yourself. And I did. I have 3 sisters, so I'm the only boy in the family. I went to Edinburgh. First person to graduated college.
Congrats, that's awesome.
Thank you. And from there, I went to a corporate job, made my name for myself, just work hard, I just worked. One thing that I know, how it's either you have work ethic or you can't be taught work ethic. That's a given. Yep. So my old man, he knew how to work. He taught me, I saw him waking up in early morning.
What did he do, when he got here, in your childhood? What was his job, right? Yeah. That American dream, right? He started it for you. He created a path for you, right? To be able to become an entrepreneur and an agent and be crushing it. So what was that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure everyone knows the staple Woolies.
Yeah.
Right? So my dad's first job when he came to America was Woolies. He worked at Woolies. He just worked his way up and pretty much ran the warehouse, so didn't know a word of English. He was just a crafty man with a knife. One of the best, I guess you can call him a fishmonger, a little bit. In Alaska, he was fishing to call mongers. Yeah. So I guess you can call him the city fishmonger, Woolies. And he just worked his butt off, He gave us a life. I'd grown up, I'm sure you can relate to this. I was poor. I didn't know because my parents gave us such a good life that I thought we were awesome.
Yep.
The older I'm getting, I was like, how people would say, I was so poor. The only thing we had was beans and rice. Shit, I didn't have beans. I knew we had rice. You know what I mean? And then
wow.
The seafood, we grew up with seafood, but the thing was the seafood wasn't the fillets or anything. It was the scraps that my dad would fillet from the fish and that the owners or the manager at the time would give them to bring it home.
So basically what they were going to throw out and they weren't able to sell.
Exactly. So we used that as food. My dad was I was blessed that both my mom and dad were able to cook.
Yep.
So I was pretty lucky on that part,
That's amazing. So got the corporate job, right? What everyone tells is the American dream.
Yeah.
It sounds like maybe you're learning a little bit and maybe it isn't. Give us a little bit more into that, bro.
I knew an office job wasn't for me after working 2 years in the pharmaceutical industry. I was working 7 days a week. I was a business analyst for CVS Pharmacy. work Sundays, like doing reports. I mean, I like numbers and everything, but at that point, I got out of college. All my friends were partying, which is great. Actually helped me to save my money, right? So after that, and like after 2 years, I was like, I'm done. I got to figure something out to do. And I always like to meet people. I genuinely like to meet people. When I first meet you, I want to get to know who you are. See where your background from. So I got into sales. So what was nice, I got into software sales, got to travel the country a lot, so love the dynamic of sales, you're helping someone to get to point A to point B, or helping someone to close someone out and open up a new chapter, right? So this is when my entrepreneurial mindset came in, was working 100% commission. That shit is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're working 50, 60 hours a week, and then you get 2 week pay. I'm like, this is all I made? So that's when a light bulb came up. I'm like, if you want to make it in this world, you got to hustle and grind. And always been in sales, so.
I'm sure that relates to you a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
The hustle and grind.
No, that's working in commission, man. You eat what you kill.
That's what it was.
If you don't kill anything, you don't eat.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Exactly.
So when you were in corporate, you went to corporate directly after, like straight from college. You went to the pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
Then you jumped right into software sales right after.
Yep.
What was after software sales? Then you became an agent?
So software sales. We started, obviously I got married, started a family. I actually got fired from a job. That's the first time I ever got fired from a job, but that's a different story, okay?
No. It's not a different story. Let's go. Give us the details. Why did you get fired?
We'll get a little later, okay?
No, I want it right now. We said it.
Really?
Yep.
So
who fired long?
Oh gosh,
because I've been fired, and it was the biggest game-changing piece of my life. And maybe it was for you, or maybe later on you realized it, but it's important.
And I'll make it real public. This was the lowest point in my life. When I was in sales, I got an opportunity to move to Tampa to open up an office, to start up an office, right? I remember it was in 2007, I believe. I remember took out the office to dinner and club and everything.
Yep.
One of the guys got in an altercation. Guess who jumps in and tries to stop it? I did. Long gets punched back in the head. What does he do? He gets upset, turns around. The first person who stares at him is going to get knocked out. What happens? I went over and I got a hard forehead, broke the dude's nose, went to jail.
Wow.
In Tampa. Yeah. It was the downfall of, when I said depression, it was depression of my life. I lost everything. From all the money I made and saved and my savings, paying attorneys, staying out of jail. I couldn't get a job at McDonald's. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Right. So came back home and it was depressing. Had to move back home to mom and dad. I made a name for myself. I worked hard, and now I got to move back to my parents' house, which I did. And then I got a job at the Garage Door in Oakland. So shout out to Garage Door. Can't wait to
shout out Garage Door. You're stealing my thunder. That's me saying shout outs.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the Garage Doors are good.
Door's solid.
Yeah, they're good friends of mine. Mark and Randy. So hopefully they can get the ball.
Shout out Mark and Randy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
stealing my shout outs back.
Sorry. But yeah, that's just I got a second chance at life, and I took it by the horns, man.
And what was that?
So when I finally got everything cleared out. I got a job with PNC. All right. So as a business banker, freaking hated it. I loved it because I get to meet with clients, and my wife was also always into network marketing. All right. So she was really good at network marketing. So she actually, quote unquote, retired me out of corporate job to bring me home to work with her. I'll tell you what, my golfing game was awesome because after I left the corporate world, I just thought that, hey, I can be on vacation for 3-6 months, and then Stephanie put the whip down and was like, hey, let's get to work. All right. So how I got in real estate was in, 7 years ago, I met a lady. Her name was Sherry Flaherty. She's still a good friend of me right now. And I was in a business networking with her. And you know how we meet some people, like a business coach or anything, they always say, hey, who are the top 5 people you want to work with, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my name was on her list. She always told me go into real estate and stuff like that. But I wasn't ready I didn't know what real estate was, right?
So you were in a business networking group prior to ever getting into real estate.
Yeah.
So this is when you were still working full time at PNC?
Working with PNC and also working with our networking business, a home-based business that my wife created.
Okay.
So I was in a BNI, just to
So what is that business? Yeah, give us a little bit more into that business.
So it was health and wellness.
Man, this is This is good education here. You got a lot going on, bro.
I was a hustler, man. I'll do
that's
whatever.
a journey, though.
Because I mean, I will do anything just to make sure I make money legally wise as possible. But it was just like I didn't find my calling yet. I knew my calling was working with people. I enjoy working with people. Like that's the most gratitude I can get out of. If I see someone smiling, a big thank you, that makes my day, right? And also, getting paid as well too. So, and then I got into, and she always got in, asked me. She was actually my real estate agent. Sold our house in Brentwood, and she was also our real estate agent.
What year were you now? What's the timeline here?
2011, 12.
Okay.
On the ballpark, and then I had an aha moment again. I was like, shit, let's do real estate. But that was a journey though. That was a freaking journey.
Oh, hey, we're uncensored, bro. Let's hit the journey.
Oh gosh. Obviously I went through everything.
You're making it easy. I don't even have to ask questions.
Yeah. Dude, it's so I'm one of those person that when someone tells me I can't do it, I'm gonna show you I can do it. You know how there's 2 port tests, the state and the national.
Oh, I know. I've failed them multiple times.
Brian's failed them 7 times.
Yeah, I've failed.
Oh, get the hell out of here! All right,
7's an exaggeration. How many?
3 times.
Oh, I got you beat. This is juicy. So the
yeah. Wow.
So the state test, I passed the first try. The second one, the national one, I failed. The reason why I think I failed was I finished my test so fast. Remember growing up, your teacher would say, "Hey, you finish your test, scrub through it, go through it."
Yeah.
I went in and start changing it up.
Yeah, just smacking some.
Yeah.
Bro, you're gonna have to take lead here for a minute while I fix my mic. Keep going though.
So I failed it. I took it 7 times.
What? 7?
6 times. 6 of the time because I kept finishing it and I kept on changing my answers. So then, yeah, right. So
the national one. So yeah, for people that don't know, the state one's only like 30 some questions.
Yeah.
The national one,
it's like 100.
Yeah, it's a longer portion of the test. Obviously, state one's a little more state specific, so easier to do. But yeah, the national one, there's a lot of different material in there, especially if you're not into real estate at all. A lot of stuff that it's not the funnest material. It's not easy to study. It's not fun to study.
Right.
7 times. Wow. Yeah, I took it 3 and I sat through the classes twice. I'm looking at Casey over here.
I just got a question. Like after this is the new mic. Hey, look, we're uncensored, baby. Let's keep rolling. We there you got it, Bri. What is the I want to know what you were thinking after like the 5th fail and why like you couldn't pass on the 6th.
That's a great question, Casey. So I lost confidence a little bit, and then like some people and family members saying maybe real estate isn't for you. And then I was like, that's when the trigger comes. Like, no, you're challenging me now. So then I remember the 7th time when I took it. And it's expensive too, because every time you get to take a test, it's expensive, And thank goodness you can take it multiple times. I know other industry, if you fail, you got to wait for like a year or something like that. Take again, right? So that moment when I took the test again, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hit submit. The best moment was says pass. It got to the point like the girl at the front desk knew me personally. I was like overwhelmed with joy. When I left the building, I literally puked in the parking lot.
What?
Yeah, I was so happy, dude.
Jesus.
I was so happy. Like I was excited. Like I was like, all right, it's time to go.
Yeah.
I gotta add in something here. So this is gonna make probably you and myself feel like complete dummies. Casey over here. So whenever him and I partnered, he let the courses kind of play in the background while he just kind of clicked through it.
Right.
And I think with 16 days later, passes his test and he's a licensed agent on the first try.
Yeah, like so we were at the time, right? I came in and we're like, hey, let's go. I'm like, well, I mean, I had no money. We were buying real estate. You don't make money necessarily buying real estate. It takes time.
Right.
It was my passion. We were going after it. And I'm like, well, shit, I need to make some money, bro. I was like, get your license. I'll give you a lead. You can go run around at night and make a couple extra bucks while we build a company.
Yeah.
I'm like, makes total sense. But like the business was kind of taking off and I was doing some consulting work for some other guys.
Right.
And I didn't have the time. So I'm like, well, screw it. I'm going to be doing all the work we're doing for the business. I'll run the 70 because you got to get 75 hours. I was like, I'll just run that on a screen on the side, just click through it. Like, cause you had to click so much. So I did that for the 75 hours, was going on vacation. So I was like, screw it. I'm driving to Harrisburg to take the test. So I
Right.
drove all the way to Harrisburg to take the test. And
Yeah.
I was like, if I fail, I don't care because you just retake it.
Right.
I knew you could retake it because Brian, took it a few times, and I did pass on the first try.
All right, you can take your home on that one. I'm okay with it. Doesn't matter.
So
All
I
matters the present
didn't
day.
I didn't have to puke after my seventh attempt.
I was I don't know what the heck it was. I don't know. I was sick, whatever, but I was just
No, you're excited, man.
Dude, I just went everywhere, and I would never forget this woman walking by. She was like, "You okay, buddy?" I was like, "Yeah." Like I was all right. I was ready to take on the world.
It's one of those things for me though. Like test taking is so different than obviously the job. And so, I took my CPA exam, I was licensed CPA, and obviously there's a ton that goes into that. And I've always naturally been able to be a good, I'm good at reason.
Yeah.
And so I was able to take tests well. So I didn't necessarily know anything about being an agent, anything about the field, but I was able to really pass the test. Right. But, looking back, I could never be a real estate agent or be really good at it because I don't enjoy it. And it's about passion and you love working with the people. So like, what was the journey now? Like, let's keep riding that. Right. So pass the test.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, baby. How we get rolling? Because I know what you're doing now, and I know you didn't get there overnight.
So you passed the test, and I remember telling Stephanie that I was like, "Hey, because I got my license in April or May 2018. All right.
Okay.
So during that whole time, my mindset was, if I don't close any deal this year, I'm okay with it. I want to learn the business. Well, guess what? It was the opposite. So I think what helped me, and also my wife helped me, was I knew how to advertise myself. I was telling people that I'm in a journey of real estate. People were following me and say, "Hey, do you license it?" I'm like, "Nope, failed." "Hey, how long did you license it?" "Nope, failed." All right. So I kept on going. And then one of Stephanie's good friends, she was my first client. Shannon was awesome. And I sold my first house in June. I believe from that on, it just ignited something. And I did over $2 million.
That first,
I didn't call it that first year, so I learned everything I went. I didn't know how to put a sales agreement together. I didn't know how to put a listing. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. I didn't know how to fill anything out.
Are you still running the family side business?
Stephanie still runs it.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
What at that time though, were you involved still or just her?
She is always the CEO of everything. All right. So I was just the employee. All right.
You were a hired gun.
I would consider that part. It's almost like, hey, janitor's duty, wiping butts duties for the kids, stuff like that. But no, yeah, we still had our side business as well too. And that side business that Stephanie created helped us so much, like financially as well. I mean, it took me out of corporate world, which is great. And I'm so grateful for that. And that networking, that we got into, it helped me to shape who I am today in the real estate world. Like how to talk to people, how to do social media, just how to do things to brand myself. You know what I mean? I still have a lot to learn, and I'm still learning because my mind is like, what's my next move? What's my next move? I need to know my next move. How can I create it? So that from there, the second year, every single year, the second year was my full year. Every single year since 2018, I have increased my production.
How much?
Oh gosh. I would say every single year is between almost 20-25% increase, maybe more. That sound right?
Yeah. I mean, I think from last year to this year, it's going to be much higher. It's about 40. You'll do over 15 million this year, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And last year you were somewhere around 10, 11?
A little over 10.
Yeah. That's a big increase.
Yeah.
You're talking 35-40% increase.
Right.
Since you've been here, at least.
Right. So every year has been a great journey. I remember when we did when I made a comment, when we introduced ourselves in our syndicate group, I could never wrap my mind the finances I have today. If just right now, the money that we're making is a blessing. It's such a blessing for my family and the people around me too.
Yep.
I was looking at my corporate job. I still have my pay stubs, and I'm like, what the hell? This is my 2-week pay.
Yeah.
I work how many hours? 60 plus hours, and this is all I'm getting. Uncle Sam wants his cut and everything. It's fine, but I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Its job is, and I'm sure Brian can contest this too. The job can be stressful, can be frustrating, can be I don't want to do this no more. But at the end of the day, it is so rewarding. It's so rewarding, just not for myself, for my family.
What would you say is the biggest rewards at the end of the day from that, right? You're big on that. You keep talking about it. What is the real reward that you believe all of that makes it worth it for you?
Helping out my clients, whether it's the first time home buyer, be able to be in a journey with them. Like, they don't know who I am. Some of my clients, they don't know who I am. They put all the trust in me to help them buy their house, or someone who has been in their household for, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, and they trust me to sell their house. Like when I was telling you earlier, like closing one chapter, opening another chapter. Yeah. That is so much gratitude that I get, be able to be a part of that. I just
there's thousands and thousands of agents, even just in our local market. There's like a 90% turnover rate. Only the good survive when it comes to agencies, and people go back because you got to make money. Yeah. How are you able to win trust of the clients that you got, right? There's so many options that we can use now. Quite frankly, with the internet, most people can go out and do most of the work and look online at houses. Yeah. How do you gain that trust of your clients?
Most of my clients right now are my past clients are giving me referrals.
Yep.
I do my best to do the right thing. And sometimes doing the right thing is doing the right thing can be hard. But at the end of the day, doing the right thing helps you out in the long run. Building relationships is one of my biggest strong points as well too. I don't want to chase transaction, because transaction does not lead you to longevity. That relationship does. Yeah. So I just think just doing the right thing at the same time, be communicating with my clients, it's been build a nice platform for my clientele,
So you said you're going to do how much this year?
Over 15.
And all by yourself?
All by myself.
How's that possible?
How's it possible?
Yeah.
You got a game plan. You got to plan everything out. So how I do a lot of things is I always write out my goals in December for the following year.
Yep.
I write down my goals, my highest goal, and from there I dissect it down to pretty much my weekly, what I need to do. If I don't know my numbers, and actually you're the one who dug in my head, is like, hey, you should know your numbers. At first I was like, I don't care about my numbers. I just want to get paid and help my clients out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got to know your numbers in order to reach your goals. You help more clients to get what you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just game plan everything and try to execute everything that I wrote down. Because my personality, I can't wing stuff. I cannot wing it. I have to know what I'm doing, where I'm going, how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to execute it. So like my phone is filled with my agenda. If I don't do every bullet point, it keeps me on track to where I need to do the next day as well too.
Yeah.
So planning and executing, because how people say you got 24 hours a day. You don't. You wake up, you maybe have 12 hours of business to do what you want to do. And if you're married and have children, that's a whole different ballpark.
Correct.
So I try to execute whatever I have for the day that I get up, and I just got to crush it. That's gratitude for me. And I feel if I do that, I feel successful for the day.
Yeah. I mean, look, for me, I really want to dive into a little bit here, because in listening to what you're talking about, I can't help but notice, right? You said at the beginning, faith, family, and culture. And we talked a little bit about the culture with your parents, and, we didn't touch a ton on faith, and that's okay. But we've might have brought up now in what you've said, family, 12 times since the beginning of this podcast. Mm-hmm. And so I really want you to dive a little bit more into what family means to you, a little bit more about your family. I know that you used this, your motto is Phamily Homes, based off your last name, but right. I think it really ties in double to that, because you try to make your clients part of your family. But I really want to, and knowing you, I know how important your family is to you. It's absolutely everything for you. And I'll be the first to say it's inspirational to me to watch that, and I try to be more like you every day. What does your family mean to you? Give us a little bit more about your family. And then lastly, I want you to get into a little bit of how hard it is you're going to do 15 million pretty much by yourself this year. Like, how hard is that to juggle family life and work life?
Right. So my family is definitely important to me. Family is my,
yeah.
Excuse me.
It's all good, man.
And I'm not an emotional guy. So I think the thing is, like, for me, I come from such a poor background. Like, family was everything. Like, no matter what you do in life, family is there. So I'm now building my own legacy for my family.
Yep.
So my fuel is definitely my wife and my 4 children. I don't care. Whatever's in the world, I don't care. Like gossiping, like news stuff. I don't care about that stuff. What I worry about and I care the most about is my four walls, my family. How can I give my children the life that they deserve that I didn't have? The thing is, I wasn't just gonna give it to them. They had to earn it like dad and mom did.
Yeah.
So family's everything. Like one thing you'll get to know about me is if you're in my circle, all right, if I hear anything bad about my circle of friends, I will be the first person to say something. If you mess with my family, that's a whole different ballpark. Like the nasty side of me will come out. And that's really rare. Yep. I'm really calm and everything. I like to smile. I like to meet people. But once you hit that trigger, it is all games. Yeah. You know? So my family is one. You know how people say my why? My why always been my family, no matter what. You know, because my goal every single day in life is to be a better father, better husband, better friend, better brother, just be a better man every single day. You know, like one thing I do every single night before I go to sleep, I ask my question. I'm like, were you a good friend today? Were you a good father today? Were you a good husband today? Did you do what you're supposed to do as a good human being in this world? Sometimes I was like, oh man, I should never swear that time. Man, I should never say that guy go F off, you know, but we're human beings, right? So what I've been doing is like, what we do is very tough. Real estate's tough, you know? You just got to make sure you surround yourself with good people, just like you guys here, and you guys helped me a lot too, and my past mentors as well too, that got me here today as well. Like you have to have a strong mindset, a very strong mindset to do business and personal things as well too. Like my life and my wife's life, it was roller coasters, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. Yeah. At one point, like I thought I'm like, bam, I'm on top of the world, and all of a sudden I get punched in the gut and I'm falling on my face. I'm like, how do I do this? You know? So I just treat people the right way. And I was telling Brian earlier, like what I'm trying to do so hard for the past year is empathy. Like have empathy for someone who's in front of you. You don't know what they're going through, because sure hell, they don't know what I'm going through. You know, just live the moment and just like, let's think before you say something. If someone comes and yell at me, I'm like, well, one, I could yell back at them, or two, I could take it as a compliment. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you're yelling at me right now, and you're using me as a relief, as a stress reliever, and just hear me your problems. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So
in the agent world, there's a lot of that. I mean, obviously there's a lot of emotions in selling a home. I mean, there's people moving, there's people's lives being shifted around. So there's a lot of
for the most part, it's the most important time in anybody's life.
It is. It's one of your biggest investments, you know?
Gosh, so just so vulnerable. I can't appreciate you enough, brother, and just the inspiration that you create for us and for everyone around you. Like everyone around you just is such a better person by getting to know you. It's fascinating, right? But I really want to talk more into that. Like 15 million. I know what the business is. I own a brokerage.
Right.
I understand what that entails. How do you become that man that you are and that you want to be, and that vulnerability and family is so important, but like you grind your butt off at work. It's got to be difficult to be here right now and not at home with your family, and to be out at night showing houses and doing those things. Like you grind, bro. Like how hard is that for you? And how do you then manage to be able to be the best father you could be every day, the best man you could be every day, when you do have to grind, you do have to work, you do have to be out of the house?
Right. Those are also great questions. And, time management is really tough on me, and I suck at it, and I do my best to time manage as possible. But the thing is, like, I think my mindset, like I was telling you earlier, is like, what's my name? If I don't plan it in my head or write it down, what do I need to do? Right. So one thing is like, my kids understand that daddy has to work, all right? My wife understands, like, hey, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And she knows this is what, helping us to put food on the table, pay our bills, and live the life that we have today, right? She understands that, which is great. Now, when I'm at home, I do my best to be, when I'm at home, like I try to do like the red, yellow, green. Like where it's green, it's all business. It's all business, I tell staff, if something's important, call me twice in a row, then I know it's very important that I call her back right away. Yeah. Yellow, I try to mix a little with both, but I try to do more family. And I try my darn hardest, like if it's red time, after me being a dad and being a father. Yep. You know, because my
so
kids,
good, so good.
I tried to. Okay, I failed in a lot of aspect of life, but I try every single day, try to get where I need to be. You know, like I think one of the best feeling would be, I heard this on Instagram was, you know, the basketball coach Buzz Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Buzz Williams is Texas A&M coach. He said one of the coolest things, and I'm paraphrasing what he's saying right now. He's like, I want to be the hero in your household or something like that, and I want my son to see how I treat my wife and become the man that I'm shown. And then I want my daughter to admire me as a father. It's like, wow, when I get married, I want a husband like my dad. Like,
so
that
good.
was powerful, right?
So good. Shout out Buzz Williams.
Yeah, like
so good.
I listen. You guys should listen to. You guys should. It's playing.
What do you listen to?
It's Buzz Williams.
Does he have a podcast or?
He does a Texas A&M podcast, but he talks about basketball in general. But you look on his Instagram, he got some like powerful words. Like it's like.
Do you hoop?
Do I hoop? I'll see you next Wednesday.
Let's go.
Next Wednesday. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Not to derail the conversation here, because this is amazing stuff. But
I was a basketball coach. You know that, right?
You know, I'll just dunk on your.
Yeah, I coached girls varsity at Hempfield. Yeah. I was assistant coach there. Yeah.
High school?
Yeah.
Girls varsity high school. You were head coach.
Yeah. No, assistant coach. Yeah. Yeah. So,
wow.
That's pretty random.
I know.
I mean, literally, like, okay, we didn't even bring that up when we were trying to get his whole story. There's probably 9 other things we didn't get.
That's what I'm like. So you're doing all these things.
I'm doing my job well here right now.
Randomly coaching.
Yeah, that was like my passion. Like like I said, like love dealing with people. Like coaching was one of my passion. I enjoy doing just like having my knowledge and wisdom, be able to share with people. But at the end of the day, my wisdom and my knowledge can go any further if you apply it. Right?
Yeah.
So I can say things over and over, and you can ask me the same question over and over. Are you going to apply what I'm going to tell you to do?
Yeah, I love it. Let me dive back. I want to take another step back, because it's really hitting home for me when I think about the home life, and I'm so passionate. Again, I learned from you, and BK is extremely good about his work-life balance, and early on up to 3 years ago, and I'm going to talk a little bit more here, but right, Brian was always like, hey, I've got to be home for the 5 o'clock. That's my time at home. And me and Brian, especially early on in the business, the first year and a half, when it was me and him grinding our damn asses off, right, it was all day conversations most of the time together. Then we would leave, he'd get home, and I didn't have children yet at the time. It was 5 to 7, nothing from Brian, and I usually would end up like 7 or 8 text messages from me to Brian, and never a response. And then all of a sudden, like 7:30 hit, 77 text messages back to me, right, from Brian. And I've always, admired and appreciated that, and I know you have that. So I really want you to dive a little bit more into what that red light means to you, because that's a cool concept, the red, yellow, green of, hey, I've got these things going on in that yellow space, and it's kind of like I'm there, but I'm not. But I try to let my family understand that.
Yeah.
When I'm green, when you're green, right, you're not even at home. You're out working, you're doing your thing. But that red light, it's extremely difficult. And I know that firsthand with a 19-month-old child at home, that I try to be extremely present when I'm there. Mm-hmm. Give us a little bit more of insights. Like, how does that work for you? How are you able to successfully do that? Like, that red light's powerful. Give us more, bro.
It is. I'm still working on it, Kay. Again, I don't want to say I consider myself as a workaholic. I do work a lot. So I try to give customer service to the fullest 110%.
Let me just stop you to cut in there, because I really want to make a key point here. When we say we're workaholic or we like to work, you found your passion, and that's helping people through real estate.
Right.
You don't love to work. You have a passion that you love chasing, of which provides income and changing the family trajectory of your life. Right. That's what you love. Mm-hmm. Not work. And I want to make a clarity point of that, because it's extremely important. You're going after what it is that you love, chasing happiness for you and your family, and you have trouble separating that from home life. So let's start there, but now get into it a little bit more.
That's a very good point. So when I'm at home, there's times that I do have to get on a phone call, but I made that, give my family heads up first. Hey, daddy needs 30 minutes. After that, I'm done. Usually when my phone will go off or a text or anything, I try to reply right away. So I finally have the mindset of, you have to give your clients and friends too expectations. That's what you need to give from the get-go.
So good, bro.
You have to get expectations. When I meet new clients, whether I'm listing their house or helping buy a house, my job is obviously to help them.
Yep.
And I also have to give them expectations as well too. Hey, Mr. and Miss Buyer, Mr. and Miss Seller, you do understand too, you are my priority, but I do have other clienteles to service as well. All right. If I do not get back to you right away, I'm going to get back to you. It's not like I'm ignoring your calls or anything.
Yep.
I'll get back to you. So when I'm at home for a red light, when someone does call me and I don't answer the phone, I'm going to say, one, if they understand my expectation, my lifestyle of I'm a family man, they'll understand that, hey, Lon will call me back.
Yep.
If they don't call, if they is like, I don't want to work with Lon because he's too busy or something like that, it's okay. It's okay. I'm in my position of my career that I'm okay to say, turn the business away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I want to make money? Sure.
I mean, this goes to culture at the end of the day. Like your culture, I think you meant at the beginning, family, but this is culture. This is absolute culture. It's your business's culture of like,
right.
You know what I mean? We've got to understand and set good expectations and understand if I'm doing family things. If family's important, just like I'm going to help take care of your family in your next, move.
That's the key there. The key there is setting the expectations with clients, just like anything. And that's where you can systematize that a little bit too by saying, hey, if you're listing a house, every Monday I'm going to send out updates of how many showings, like setting that standard at the very beginning,
right,
and letting them know, because a lot of times people just want some information because agents aren't communicating.
Right.
If you take the lead on the communication with the clients and you set those expectations, hey, you're to expect a listing, like full listing report of every Monday of, hey, how your showings are doing, what kind of feedback we got, and really setting those expectations. You don't have to worry about those calls coming in all throughout the night.
Right.
At just randomly as soon as somebody has one question. Because people do understand you have children, and that's most of your clients, like you said, are going to be past client referrals.
Right.
So that trickles to each person by setting those standards. This is how I work. I am here for you. I am here to serve you. This is my system. This is my process. And this is how I'm going to get you to the finish line. And most people have kids, and most people understand that as well.
I think a lot of agents, new agents, and I was one of them, are afraid to lose clients.
Yes.
Regardless what industry it is. They're afraid to lose clients. But at the end of the day, it's okay. Like, you have to get that in your mindset. It's okay. Like, everything will fall. You're still going to make money.
It's fear of the unknown.
Exactly. It is a fear of the unknown.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I was the same way too. I wonder, like, soon I get a text from a client, I'll drop everything and I'll try to text them back. But the thing is, here's what I know. This is what I learned. And I'm sure you can say this too. I'm sure you say it as well. I remember when I get a text from a client right away, I usually text them right away. Reply back right away.
Yeah.
Once you do that, the client has them in their heads like, shit, Long is a good he is fast. Yeah. So then like a month later, something like that, they text you and you're actually busy doing something. They're like, this guy's dropping his ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you're really hitting a point here of, because I struggle with this, right? And I want to transition this into the idea of the team piece, because this goes right with that. But right, I tend to work when I'm not doing something. I tend to be quote unquote working, and by working I mean chasing my happiness, and that entails certain things. And I've always struggled because of that point, right? People think you've got to respond right away.
Right.
It's understanding sometimes what your client expectations are, or whoever you're talking to, right? Like I'll send a text out, or maybe a client texts you and they don't care to get a response. It's just, hey, it's on their head. They're working right now. They get it off. And I've always struggled with this. I mean, I always my default was, if it's a text, I kind of want an answer. And if it's not, I'll send an email saying kind of like the quote unquote, this can wait. But that's not the real way to do it. It's, hey, how do we get better at setting those expectations up front both ways, of me saying to, people to work at CityLife, for instance, hey, when I text you, I'm not at 9:00 at night. I'm not really expecting an answer. It's just, I'm working right now. I've got to get this question out. I can't put a delay. And if it's 8 a.m. tomorrow when I want to send it, I'm not going to send it because I've moved on to other things. Like, you know what I mean? Does that help relate? Like, how do you figure that out? Because a lot of like client, it's not, you're scared to lose a client, but like, you're setting your own expectations of what the client's expectations are, or maybe that they're not actually true. You're assuming they want a response right away, when probably a lot of times they don't care.
Don't care. Right. To answer that question back too. Yes, you have to give them your expectation, but you got to ask them too, like, what's your expectation?
Yeah.
Like, how would you like me to communicate with you? You rather do, obviously, they're married. Would you like a group text, or would you like a call? How would you like to? Are you the boss? Or are you the boss? You know, like, what's
do you do that?
Absolutely. I have to.
At the beginning of every relationship?
You have to.
Yeah.
That's
probably like groundbreaking news. Like, this is so good because there's probably so many agents that don't do that.
But the thing is, the reason why I'm here right now too is I've learned. You know, I was in the trenches. Like, I'm figuring out what works for me. What works for me may not work for you guys or other agents. But what I know for sure is that works for me is when I go to a listing appointment. You know, I want to hear them out, their whole story and whatever. You know, I give them my expectation at the end of the time, and you got to turn around. It's like, Mr. and Miss Seller, what is your expectation? Have questions ready as well too.
Shout out Mr. and Mrs. Seller.
Yeah, you guys, I'll sell your house. You know, but you just gotta like just ask them questions as well too. Like, you can't just like, okay, I gotta remember this. You gotta write your shit down.
I'll tell you a lot of it. It'll probably transition to the team a little bit. But you can't do 15 million in sales by not setting expectations and by not starting to do those things, especially as a single agent with kids and everything else. You have to really condense time because now whenever you do that many transactions, there's a lot of clients, there's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of moving parts.
So you have to really set in your own processes and really go into every listing, every buyer appointment, really letting everyone know, hey, I'm here to help you. This is the way they're hiring you. They're paying you to do a job.
Yeah.
Setting that this is how I do things. This is why you're hiring me. And aligning that with them, with their interests and what their goals are to do that. So I think when you do that many transactions, when you're really busy, you're not afraid to lose clients, but you're there to actually deliver, to deliver efficiently. Because ultimately, our job's not to waste clients' times either. Yeah, it's not to run them to 100 houses. It's not to answer their calls and texts all night for no reason. It's really to get them to the finish line and achieve their goal. And a lot of agents, I think, do waste clients' times by showing them too many houses. Yeah. By just giving them bad information, by listing their house way too high. And just because you're scared not to get the listing and the house sits there for 6 months and it costs them a lot of time and a lot of money because it's sat on the market.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. It's okay. Just tell them what you feel. You're the expert in this industry. You know, it's either they'll take it or they won't. You know, they won't take it. Guess what? That's not your client you want to work with.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And it's okay. You know, I learned throughout my career. You know, I mean, I'm still new in this business. Like, I'm still learning.
You're what, 3.5 years in?
4
years.
Yeah, I mean,
and that first year is always a transition year from whatever else you were doing prior.
Right. So I'm still learning. I'm learning every single day. You know, I'm still learning new techniques, new way to talk to clients, new way to get clients, just to do the right thing. You know, I'm learning every single day. Yeah. You know, like, a lot of people always ask me, like, what's your secret? I have no secret. It's called planning, working, execute.
But let me get into this a little bit with you, bro. Like, so, because I know we've talked about it a lot together. I know you talk about it a lot with Brian since you've been at RE/MAX CityLife. The idea of building a team, right? And we're talking on the investment side. You've joined the Steel City Syndicate Mastermind. Shout out Steel City Syndicate Mastermind. You know, we are taking new people into the mastermind. So if you are interested, give us a shout. But right, so you to your point, you're taking action with that. You're not just saying, hey, I'm learning. You're taking literal action towards that. And I know from a team perspective, and really to get from 15 million to 30 million, if that's what you want in the next point of your career, it's a team, or hey, maybe I move more on the investment side. Why don't you give us a little flavor into how it's been trying to start, you know, delegating and elevating and hiring a team and trying to build that out, and what that's been like for you, you know, struggles or successes, et cetera, that you've had there.
All right. So before I came here to RE/MAX CityLife, I started a team at my old brokerage. All right. I thought that's what I wanted. I didn't know. Was an experience? Absolutely. One thing that I struggle so much is I am hard to work with. The reason why I'm hard to work with, because my expectation for myself is so high for myself. It's because I want to be successful. I want to succeed. I don't feel like I'm successful yet, and I'm going to get there. Right. So when someone's working with me, I have to realize, like, hey, that person's not going to be long. That person's not going to be long.
Yeah, we just talked about this. Yep.
I know. So the thing is, I got to hear what their needs and wants are and how I can help them. All right. I also have to understand, like, I can't want it more for them than they want for themselves. Yeah. That was my struggle. You know, then I make whatever their goals were, I made it to my goals, and I was stressed out. And I knew that my business was declining. but I experienced it, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out because maybe I didn't plan correctly. Maybe I didn't know exactly how I want my team to run or how I want things to run. Right? You have to have a plan in action. If you can't just wing it, right?
Yeah.
And I think I winged it. A lot of people say, "Don't do it, don't do it." Then again, that young mindset of me is like, "Oh, someone's telling me you can't do it. I'm going to do it," and I failed. And failing isn't bad, right?
Only if you quit.
Exactly. Failing to me is to say, "Hey, I tried. Now go back."
You tried, you learned.
Exactly.
Every failure is a learning opportunity unless you quit. That's
100%.
I love that saying more.
That's a
than
great
anything.
saying. Yeah, it's simple and straight to the point. And then I hate to bring this up, but when I met with Brian to come over here, right? I remember, and you said it too. You said to me regardless if you don't come here, you need a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
That's what you said, So, and then after you can ask me what kind of question, why did I come over and stuff like that. I'll answer all that. It's a good
Why
reason.
didn't you come over right away? Because I remember I met with you one time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of was, back then we weren't really heavily recruiting. It was mostly just kind of Brian and I. And, it was a great relationship. You were a great, and you just ultimately decided, hey, it's not the right time. But why?
So when I got into, that was during COVID. Like everything was shut down. Remember?
It was. Yeah.
So I was bored out of my freaking mind. I didn't know what to do. I was still like trying making cold calls and everything. And Brian reached out to me, and Brian was one of the guys I respected in the industry. Like when I got into real estate.
Shout out BK.
Yeah, Steph was like, look at Brian's social media. Look at Brian's social media. And I was like, I don't give a shit who this guy Brian is. I'm going to do my own thing. And I was like, shit, this guy knows what he's doing, right? Yeah. So we met for lunch, fatheads, At that moment, I think I was out of the reaction. I was just bored. I didn't know what I truly wanted, right? And the thing is, I'm glad that I know you were pissed. You were pissed, weren't you? How pissed were you?
I wasn't mad. Yeah. I just didn't think it was the right decision for me. For you not to come here, I knew it was the wrong decision. For you, it didn't matter to me.
Okay.
For you, I knew it was the wrong decision, and so I was disappointed because I knew the right decision was coming here for your career, your life,
right,
where you wanted to go, and you didn't do that.
Yeah.
And eventually you made the right decision ultimately on your own, which a lot of times I say that all the time, right? As long as you don't quit, it's not failure.
Right.
That was what it was for me personally. It was, he's making the wrong decision. I know that, but we can't convince him otherwise right now.
Right.
Let him go figure it out.
And I'm glad you did, because at that point, I didn't know why I wanted to leave. I didn't. So I'm glad that, I made a decision. It was tough for, just like, because I told you, because if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
But then again, I had to realize, like, what was the reason why I wanted to change, right? So that whole year, it clicked on me. And I was like, these are things in my career that I'm missing. I don't want to be comfortable. I didn't want to be complacent. And I felt that. I was complacent. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I need to go somewhere to scale my business. And then again, I start following Brian again. I'm like, okay, there are many like-minded agents over there are doing things that I want to do, And that whole year made me think of like, what do I need to do? That's why I, talk to you and everything. And the thing is, I don't know if Brian told you, I was actually going to go to a different brokerage.
Okay.
Did he tell you that?
I don't think so.
Maybe. But no, because there's a lot of me and you talking back and forth over numbers and really just looking at it, how they lined up. But ultimately, it was more, we aligned a little bit more because you wanted to grow. You on the investing side, you really wanted to learn from people doing it, like scaling out businesses, not only just on the agent side. So I think that's where we kind of got the upper hand.
Yeah, I just felt like, I knew what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to be in real estate my whole life? Yeah, but do I want to show houses my whole life? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I want to find another avenue for me that I can bring, make money for my, for my family and I, stuff like that. So, come over here was tough as well too, because my last brokerage, we had a good relationship. But then,
fear of the unknown.
You're right. And the thing is, but one thing that I love hearing is there's this gentleman that I know. He always said, his saying was like, if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna move somewhere, you should be scared. You should be, stressed out, but whatever. But the main word he said to was, what if? What if that decision you made worked out? Like I didn't like that saying like, oh, the grass is never greener on the other side, whatever. That's one of the sayings I don't like. But the thing is, that what if is really strong because you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
You can make it work. And I took the what if chance.
All great things come from uncomfortability, right? I mean, other than
100%.
hitting the lottery of pure luck, which I mean is no one really does that, right? And then they go lose all that money. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right, for me, it was, why I thought it was the wrong decision, because it wasn't necessarily about look, I think everybody knows this at this point. We don't make much money in a brokerage off of our agents. To me, it's more about relationships, the mindset, getting surrounded by the right like-minded individuals that are after the same things. That's where I get the growth. That's where we really win as a brokerage. And then the opportunities will come down the line of, business partner relationships, opportunities in real estate, elsewhere, right? I follow you and your family on social media. I learned so much, right? Just about how to be a great person in society. And so that's what I knew you were missing and needed to be around a lot more like that. And you're getting that. And look what's happened. I mean, you're scaling your business.
It's been an awesome journey. Just like I'm sure you can call my wife right now and ask her what she thinks about CityLife right now. She'll give you everything how she feels about it.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that.
I mean, you're a big part of that, right? It's not necessarily us, right? It's the culture of which everyone within it is building.
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
Right, and it's the culture you guys made too. I mean, I'm surrounded by awesome. So even though we're individual agents in City and Remax, but I feel like we are a team. I mean, this is my crew. This is my clique. This is who I'm going to battle with, and these are the people who are going to back me up on a lot of things.
Yeah, I love it. You want to see their success just as much as you want your own.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's just seeing. Yeah, I want everyone to be successful who's in front of me.
So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. So 5 years, I'll be. I'm one of the oldest agents in our office.
How old are you?
40.
Big 40.
You actually turned 40?
Yeah, I'll be 41 in February.
You're not.
Yeah, I know. It's the Asian look.
Yeah, Asians age well.
You age well, buddy.
So when I see my 5 years, I'll do personal and I'll do business as well too.
Love it. Great.
All right. My business side is I'm always going to be in real estate regardless to the day I die. All right. I want to be a top by 5 years. I want to be a top 50 agent in Pittsburgh. I truly believe I can be a top.
Why not a top 50 agent in the world?
How great would I can?
Yeah. I know you can.
Or
maybe you can't. Maybe that'll motivate you.
Top agent Remax side. For the state of PA, that's possible as well too.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've done 15 million in year 4. You've had 3 years of education. By another 5 years, you'll have 9 years of experience in education.
Yeah.
Why can't it be, 115 million?
You're right. Why can't it be? It should be. It can be. It's all the mindset if I have it. You're your biggest, mindset of if you want to get something happen, you got to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So you got to write it down and say, hey, I can do this, right? So the business side is I want to scale my business to the fullest that I can just take one big step backwards. I do have one buyer agent right now. Gary's a phenomenal guy. He's learning.
Shout out Gary.
Yeah, Gary's been awesome.
Gary's making moves. I like it.
Yeah, he already did 2 deals already. So he's helping a lot as well too, like showing houses or getting to the points that I couldn't get there. I still want to do listing. Obviously, this year listing has been one of my strongest suits.
Yep.
So I want to be a top 5, top 50, maybe top 10.
Love it.
And it's doable. I can do that. I think from 5 years.
You're not far, man.
Yeah, I'm on my knowledge. Now. Yeah, I just got to stay focused and do the uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
Right now, personal side, I'll be 45 by then. I won't be able to say, Steph's like, hey, let's go to a family trip. I'm like, let's do it, without even hesitating. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my ultimate goal, like I'll go ultimate. I know you say 5 years, but my ultimate goal is, this has always been in my heart that I one day want to be able to build an orphanage in Vietnam.
Okay.
That's a big ass goal.
Yeah.
Is it obtainable? Absolutely. Because that's a poor country, but I want to do that. So if I can be able to do that, be awesome.
Here's what I tell everybody, including myself, and I have to remind myself a lot. Understand what that end goal is, work your way back, and start making every day, get yourself closer to that, right? I call it chasing happiness. If that's what's going to be ultimate happiness for you and a goal of yours, start chasing it.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that looks like, if it's X amount of deals you got to get done, X amount of whatever, those goals, start chasing them today because it's never too soon. And you can hit it. So, I'll throw that back your way.
Well, speaking, like, obviously people are going to want to help you do that. So I think even speaking of it, obviously I know like I would do whatever I could to help you on that. And I think you've done so many positive things for people that a lot of people are going to want to help you do that. So the more you start talking about it, the more it'll start shedding light on it too, and where you'll see people reaching out to help. And obviously you always earn
the belief wheel. The more you say it, the more it'll become real.
It'll become 100% real.
You know how many children that you can, like, lives of children you can change?
Yeah,
I'm sure thousands, right?
You know, like, just give them just something simple. You know, like that's like, you know, us living here. You know, I just feel like there's so many. We take things for granted too much. You know, I do it myself.
Yeah.
I just wish I can, and I can. I can give more. It's just like I just gotta take action.
Yeah.
You know, like, here's the other, like, the business side too. Before 5 years, I want my accountant says, "Long, you just earned $1 million." That's what I want.
Good goal. Yeah.
It's like, hey, you earned $1 million. I'm like, all right, let's go to 2. Let's go to 3.
Yeah, $1 million a year is obtainable quickly for you, in my opinion. So you just got to keep chasing that. What's the, you know, like to end it always with a tidbit we can give to the crowd for listening through the entire time, right? So what is the best advice you can give right now to everybody out there listening?
Be true to yourself and always have a student mindset. If you want to get to where you want to be, you always have a student mindset to learn and apply what you learn.
I love it, bro. Where can we find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at, we talked earlier, my last is Pham, Pham, but I call myself Family. So you can find me on Instagram at Phamily Homes, PGH, and I'm also on Facebook and as well too.
One of the greatest guys we know, incredible businessman when it comes to buying and selling your house. Look, if you're in the market in the greater Pittsburgh area, nobody better to list it for you. If you're looking to buy a house, nobody better than, you know, Long and his team. Appreciate having you on the show today, buddy. That was awesome.
It was awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Long.
Until next time, let's go.